The ship called Endless Dawn moved slowly through the darkness of space. Inside, Commander stood near the large window and watched the alien station grow bigger as they got closer. Her white armor was so clean and bright that it seemed to glow under the lights. She had spent 3 hours that morning making sure every part of it was perfect. Ambassador walked up behind her. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 30 years talking to aliens, making deals and keeping peace. But today, even he looked nervous. "You understand this is not a fighting mission," he said to. "They have never met humans before. We need to show them we come in peace." Did not turn around, she kept looking at the station. It was shaped like a giant silver flower floating in space. Beautiful, but something about it made her stomach feel cold. "I understand, Ambassador," she said. "But I also know that 5 of our cargo ships disappeared in this area last month. 200 humans, gone. That could be pirates or accidents, we do not know." "We do not know," agreed. "That is what worries me." She finally turned to face him, was not a big woman. She stood only 160 centimeters tall. Her face was young, but her eyes were old. They were the eyes of someone who had seen too much death. "I have been a soldier for 20 years, she said quietly. "I have learned to trust my feelings, and right now my feelings are telling me something is wrong." Sighed, "Just, please let me do the talking, keep your weapons down, smile." "I will smile," said, but her hand moved a little closer to the plasma blade on her hip. The shuttle bay was full of activity. 12 soldiers in white armor stood in perfect lines, waiting for their commander. Walked past them slowly, looking at each face. There was Lieutenant, her second in command. He was a big man with a scar on his chin and hands that could break bones. But he was also gentle. Had seen him cry over a dead puppy once. There was Sergeant, the youngest of the group at only 23 years old. She was small-like, with quick eyes and quicker hands. She was the best shooter in the entire fleet. There was Corporal, who told bad jokes. Private, who could not cook but always tried. Corporal, who sang old songs when she was scared. These were her people, her family. She would die for any of them without thinking. "Listen carefully," said through their private radio channel. "We are going to smile, we are going to bow, we are going to keep our weapons turned off, but if I give the signal, you know what to do." "We know," Commander said. "We become the signal." The shuttle ride to the station took 20 minutes. Spent the time studying the station's structure, counting windows and doors, looking for weak points. Old habits. When the doors opened, they were waiting for them. They were tall, very tall. Each one stood over 2 meters high, with silver skin that looked like metal. They had 4 arms that moved like water, smooth and graceful. Their faces had no noses, just 2 large eyes and a small mouth. The leader stepped forward. His name was High Keeper, and he wore robes made of something that looked like liquid gold. "Humans," said. His voice came through a translator, making it sound flat and strange. "We have heard stories about your kind, small creatures, soft bodies, yet you have spread across the stars like fire spreads through dry grass." "We are survivors," Ambassador said with a polite smile. "We adapt, we grow, we make friends wherever we go." "Friends" made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Yes, friends are useful," his silver eyes moved to, "and this one, a warrior dressed for peace." "Commander, she leads our honor guard." Honor tasted the word like it was something strange. How interesting. Bowed her head slightly but said nothing. She was watching, counting guards, nodding exits, seeing things that Ambassador did not see. Like how the guards stood in positions that blocked every door. Like how more guards kept arriving every few minutes. Like how looked at the humans the way a hungry animal looks at food. The day was long and boring, meeting after meeting. Talk about trade, talk about borders, talk about sharing culture, all very polite, all very civilized. But notice things. She noticed that certain doors did not open. When she asked about them, they said they were broken. Too many broken doors for a station this advanced. She noticed a strange smell under the clean air, something chemical, something that reminded her of hospitals. And once, just for a moment, she heard something. A door opened down a far hallway, and through that door came a sound, a human sound, a scream of pain cut short when the door closed again. His hand twitched toward her weapon. Beside her, she felt go stiff. His breathing changed. They had all heard it. "Commander," whispered through their private channel. Her voice was shaking. Not yet, breathed back. We need to know more, we need to know how many. That night the humans were given rooms to sleep in. Nice rooms, comfortable beds, locked doors. Did not sleep. At 3 in the morning, station time, she disabled the lock on her door. It was easy. Technology was advanced, but had been breaking locks since she was a teenager in the slums of New Seoul. She moved through the dark hallways like a ghost. Her white armor should have made her visible, but knew how to use shadows, how to walk without sound, how to become invisible. She found them in the lowest level of the station. 47 humans. They were floating in glass tubes filled with green liquid. Tubes and wires went into their bodies. Their faces were frozen in pain. Some of them were crying, even in their sleep. Recognized the equipment, medical harvesting machines. They were taking something from these humans, blood, organs, something their alien bodies needed or wanted. She stood there for a long time looking at the faces of her people. Farmers, workers, families, children. A little girl no more than 10 years old floated in one of the tubes. Her eyes were open but empty. Felt something cold and hard grow in her chest. It was not anger. Anger was hot and fast. This was something deeper, something older. The feeling that humans had carried since they first picked up rocks and sticks to protect their families from predators. She counted guards, she mapped the paths, she memorized everything. Then she went back to her room and began to plan. Tomorrow her armor would no longer be white. Morning came with fake sunlight and the sweet smell of alien food. Ambassador sat at a long table, eating something that looked like purple fruit. He was smiling, talking politely with the officers around him. Sat across from him, she had not touched her food. Her white armor was still perfect, still clean, but her eyes were different now. They were the eyes of a hunter. "Commander, you must try this," said, holding up a piece of fruit. "It is quite." "Ambassador," his voice was quiet but sharp, "I need to speak with you alone now." Something in her tone made stop smiling. He excused himself politely and followed to a small room away from the... When the door closed, told him everything. The prisoners, the machines, the little girl with empty eyes. His face went white, then red. His hands started shaking. This is an act of war," he whispered. "We need to leave, contact the fleet, come back with." "They will kill the prisoners the moment we try to leave," said. "Look around, Ambassador, look at how many guards there are now. They are not planning to let us go. We know too much." "Then what can we do?" His voice was calm, too calm. "You will stay here with 2 guards, lock the door. Do not open it for anyone except me." "And you?" "I am going to bring our people home." She gathered her squad in the hallway, 10 soldiers, had refused to leave the ambassador's side, which was good, would need protection. Looked at her soldiers, was checking her rifle, was rolling his shoulders, was muttering a prayer his grandmother had taught him, was humming an old song under her breath. "I will not lie to you," said. "There are 47 civilians in the lower levels. There are at least 60 guards between us and them. Many of us might die today." Nobody spoke, nobody looked away. "But those are our people down there. Humans, taken from their homes, treated like animals. I saw a child in those tubes, a little girl." His voice cracked just for a moment. "I will not leave her here, I cannot." Stepped forward. "We are with you, Commander, until the end." The others nodded. Some had tears in their eyes. All of them were ready. "Rules of engagement," said. "Anyone who tries to stop us dies. Anyone who surrenders lives, but I do not expect many surrenders." She was right. The first guard they met was standing at the end of a hallway. He was big, even and he carried a plasma rifle. When he saw the humans approaching, he reached for the alarm button on the wall. Moved like lightning. Her plasma blade came out of its holder and turned on in one smooth motion. White light filled the hallway. The blade cut through the guard's arm before he could touch the button. The second cut took his head. Silver blood sprayed across white armor, the first stain. "Move," she ordered. They moved. The next hallway had 3 guards, dropped 2 of them with her rifle before they could raise their weapons. The third tried to run. Private caught him and broke his neck with his bare hands. More silver blood, more stains on white armor. They fought their way down level by level, led from the front, her blade singing through the air. She did not think about what she was doing. Thinking was for later. Now there was only movement, only the dance of death that she had learned over 20 years of war. A plasma bolt hit her shoulder. Her armor absorbed most of it, but the heat burned through to her skin. She killed the shooter and kept moving. Corporal took a shot to his side. He fell against the wall, blood pouring from the wound. But when a guard ran at him with a knife, grabbed the knife with his bare hand, pulled the guard close, and shot him in the face with his sidearm. "I am okay," said, even though he clearly was not. "Keep going." Sergeant took a plasma bolt through her leg. The pain must have been incredible, but she did not scream. She simply dropped to one knee and kept shooting. Her accuracy did not change at all. Private lost 3 fingers when a blade came down on his hand. He looked at his ruined hand for a moment. Then he picked up his fallen rifle with his other hand and kept fighting. They were humans. They did not stop. They could not stop. Stopping meant dying. Stopping meant leaving those people in tubes. Stopping was not an option. The alarms finally started when they reached the 4th level. Red lights flashed. A loud voice announced in the language that there were intruders. "They know we are here," Corporal said. "Good," replied. "Let them come." 20 guards came around the corner. They were in formation, weapons ready, silver faces showing no fear. They had probably never lost a fight before. They were bigger than humans, stronger. They had better technology. They had no idea what they were facing. "Humans," the leader said, his voice full of disgust. "You are small, you are weak. Put down your weapons and maybe we will kill you quickly." Smiled, it was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a wolf looking at sheep who thought they were wolves. "We are small," she agreed. "We are soft, but do you know what else we are?" She raised her blade. It was red now, covered in silver blood. "We are stubborn, we do not give up, we do not surrender. And when you hurt our people, when you take our families, when you make our children scream," her smile grew wider, more terrible, "we become something else, something your people have never seen before." "And what is that?" "Your death." She moved, they all moved. The fight lasted 4 minutes. When it was over, 20 lay dead on the floor, had killed 9 of them herself. Still bleeding from her leg, had killed 5. The others had taken the rest. Looked down at her armor. It was no longer white. It was not even pink anymore. It was red, deep, dark red, covered in silver alien blood and her own human blood. "Commander," Corporal pointed ahead, "the prisoner level is just through that door." "Then let us finish this." They broke through the door. The guards on the other side were not ready. They died fast. And then was standing in front of the tubes. 47 humans floating in green liquid. 47 faces frozen in pain. The little girl was right in front of her. Her eyes were still empty, but she was breathing. "Get them out," ordered. "All of them now." Her soldiers moved to the control panels. One by one, the tubes began to open. Green liquid poured onto the floor. Bodies fell into waiting arms. Caught the little girl herself. She was so light, so small. Her skin was cold and her heartbeat was weak. "You are safe now," whispered. "I promise you are safe." The radio in her ear crackled. His voice came through tight with worry. "Commander, we have a problem up here, a big problem." Closed her eyes. Of course, there was another problem. There was always another problem. "Tell me," she said. "The ambassador, they took him, has him hostage." Looked at the little girl in her arms, then at her soldiers, then at the 47 civilians who were slowly waking up from their nightmare. "Hold this position," she said. "I will get him back." "Commander, you cannot go alone." "That is an order, Lieutenant." She handed the little girl too and picked up her blade. Her armor was crimson now, and she was not finished yet. The hallways of the station had become a nightmare. Emergency lights flashed red. Alarms screamed. Bodies lay in pools of silver blood. And through it all walked. Her white armor was gone. In its place was something that looked like it had been dipped in blood. Her plasma blade hung at her side, its light dim under layers of drying gore. She walked slowly, saving her strength, but her eyes never stopped moving. Handprints marked the walls where she had touched them. Crimson handprints on silver metal, a trail that anyone could follow. She did not care. Let them follow, let them come. "Commander's voice crackled in her ear. "I can see you on the security cameras, is in the main atrium. He has 50 guards with him. The ambassador is on his knees with a gun to his head." "How is?" "Scared but alive." "Good, keep watching. Tell me if anything changes." She climbed stairs, walked through doors, stepped over bodies. Her breathing was steady, her heartbeat was calm. This was what she was made for. This was what 20 years of war had created. A monster, a weapon, a human being pushed beyond all limits. The atrium doors were large and decorated with beautiful alien art. Kick them open. The room was huge. High ceilings covered with painted stars, walls made of something that looked like crystal. In the center stood High Keeper, his 4 arms folded across his chest. Behind him stood 50 guards in a perfect circle. Ambassador knelt on the floor in front of. His face was pale and covered in sweat. A plasma pistol was pressed against the back of his head. Looked at and made a sound of disgust. "Look at you," he said. "Covered in the blood of my people. Do you feel proud, little human? Do you feel strong?" Said nothing. She was counting. 50 guards, all armed, all watching her. "You have caused me much trouble today," continued. "Good soldiers dead, valuable prisoners lost, all because of one small, stupid creature who does not know her place. Release him." "Or what?" laughed. It was an ugly sound. "You will kill me, you will kill all of us. You are one human, one, and you are wounded. I can see the blood leaking through your armor. How much longer can you stand?" Took a step forward. The guards raised their weapons. "Let me tell you a story," she said. Her voice was quiet but clear. 20 years ago, I was a child living in the slums of New Seoul. We had nothing, no food, no water, no hope. Every day was a fight just to survive." She took another step. "When I was 16, raiders attacked our settlement. They had weapons, ships, technology. We had rocks and sticks. They thought we would be easy prey." Another step. "They killed my mother, my father, my little brother. They thought that would break us, that we would give up, surrender." Another step. The guards were getting nervous now. Some of them were backing away. "But we did not surrender. We fought. With rocks, with sticks, with our bare hands. We fought until the raiders ran away screaming. We fought until we won." She stopped 10 meters from. Her eyes were cold and empty. The eyes of someone who had nothing left to lose. "That is what humans are," she said. "We are not the strongest. We are not the fastest. We are not but we are the most stubborn creatures in the entire universe. We do not give up. We do not stop. We keep fighting until we win or until we are dead. And sometimes even death does not stop us." Silver eyes narrowed. Pretty words, but words do not stop plasma bolts. "No, agreed, they do not." She moved. It was not speed that humans were known for. Other species were faster. But humans had something else, something called reaction time. The ability to see a situation and respond before their brain fully understood what was happening. His brain did not understand what she was doing until she was already doing it. Her blade came up. It went through his weapon hand, cutting clean through. The plasma pistol fell to the floor, screamed, a high, terrible sound. Then the guards opened fire. 50 plasma weapons, 50 streams of burning light, all aimed at one small human woman. His armor was made by the best engineers on Earth. It was designed to protect against exactly this kind of attack. But it was not designed to protect forever. It was not designed to stop everything. She felt the heat, felt the impacts, felt pieces of her armor melting, cracking, falling away, but she did not stop moving. She became a blur of crimson and light. Her blade found the first guard's throat, then the second, then the third. She spun and ducked and jumped, moving between plasma bolts, moving through spaces that should have been too small for any living thing. Guards fell, one after another. Their silver blood joined the red already covering his armor. A bolt hit her leg. She stumbled but did not fall. Another hit her back. Her armor cracked. She felt fire against her skin. Still she moved. Still she killed. The guards began to panic. They had never seen anything like this. They had fought other species before, conquered them, harvested them, but they had never faced a human in full battle rage. Some tried to run, cut them down. Some tried to surrender. She let them live, kicking away their weapons, leaving them crying on the floor. But most fought and most died. 3 minutes, that was how long it took. 3 minutes of fire and blood and screaming. When it was over, stood in a circle of bodies. Her armor was smoking. Her body was burned in a dozen places. Blood, both red and silver, dripped from her blade. She was shaking. Her vision was blurry. Her lungs felt like they were full of glass. But she was still standing. Was on his knees, holding the stump where his hand used to be. Silver blood poured between his fingers. His eyes were wide with something he had probably never felt before. Fear. What are you? He whispered. Walked toward him. Each step was agony, each breath was pain, but she did not let it show on her face. I am commander of the Terran 7th Fleet, she said, and I am taking my people home. She grabbed him by the collar and pulled him close. You are going to give us a shuttle, you are going to let us leave, and you are going to pray that I never come back here, because if I do, she smiled, that terrible wolf-like smile. I will bring friends, and we will burn this station to ash. Silver face had turned almost white. The shuttle bay, he croaked. Level 3, take whatever you want, just leave. Dropped him, he fell to the floor and did not try to get up. She turned to Ambassador, who was still kneeling, his face frozen in shock. Ambassador, can you walk? Blinked, then slowly nodded. Good, we need to move, now. She helped him to his feet. Together they walked out of the atrium. Behind them lay in a pool of silver blood, surrounded by the bodies of his guards. Radio crackled. Commander, it was Sergeant. We heard the shooting, are you okay? Looked at herself, burned armor, bleeding wounds, hands that would not stop shaking. I am alive, she said. That is enough, get the civilians ready, we are leaving. Yes, Commander. Kept walking, one foot in front of the other, the hardest thing she had ever done. But they were going home, all of them, no matter what it cost. That was the only thing that mattered. The shuttle was old but solid. Ran her hands over the controls, checking systems, preparing for launch. Her fingers left red smears on everything she touched. Behind her, the shuttle was full. 47 rescued civilians lay on the floor on seats against walls. Some were awake and crying. Others were still unconscious from the drugs they had used. The little girl with empty eyes was held in Sergeant's arms, wrapped in a soldier's jacket. 10 soldiers, 10 wounded soldiers. Corporal had lost his arm during the escape. The blade had cut clean through, and there had been no time to look for the missing piece. He sat against the wall now, his face gray, his remaining hand pressed against the bandaged stump. Private was missing 3 fingers. Corporal had burns covering half her body. Still had a hole in her leg, wrapped tight with strips torn from her own uniform. They were broken, but they were alive. Ambassador sat in the co-pilot's seat. His hands were shaking so badly that he could not hold anything. He kept looking at like she was something from a nightmare. Commander, he said quietly, what you did back there, I have never seen anything like that. I hope you never see it again. The voice was flat, empty. Starting launch sequence. The shuttle lifted off the floor. Through the window could see soldiers running toward them. Too late. The shuttle was already moving toward the exit bay. They are opening the doors, said with surprise. They are letting us go. For now. She was right. The moment the shuttle cleared the station, alarms started screaming. 6 fighters launched from hidden bays, their engines burning bright against the black of space. They lied, whispered. They always lie, pushed the shuttle's engines to full power. Hold on, this is going to be rough. The first plasma bolt missed them by meters. The second hit their rear shield, making the whole shuttle shake. Pulled hard on the controls, sending them into a spin that made everyone scream. This is Commander of the Terran 7th Fleet, she broadcast on all emergency channels. Any Terran ships in range, we need help. We have survivors from the missing cargo ships. Repeat, we have survivors, 47 civilians and 10 soldiers. Static, then nothing, then. Commander, this is the TSS Ironclad. We read you. We are 15 minutes away. Can you hold? 15 minutes? In space combat, 15 minutes was forever. We will try, said. She threw the shuttle into another evasive pattern. The fighters were fast, much faster than her heavy shuttle, but had been flying ships since she was 18. She had survived 100 space battles. She knew tricks that the pilots had never seen. She flew toward an asteroid field that was floating nearby. The big rocks would provide cover, would slow down the fighters, would give her a chance. Plasma bolts screamed past. One hit their left engine. Warning lights flashed red. We are losing power, said, his voice high with fear. I know. His hands moved across the controls, adjusting, compensating. Divert everything to shields and the right engine. We only need to survive 15 minutes. 14 minutes now. She dove into the asteroid field. Rocks the size of houses flew past, moved between them like water flowing through stones. Behind her, 2 fighters tried to follow. One crashed into an asteroid and exploded. The other pulled back, not willing to risk it. 4 fighters left. 12 minutes. They are circling around, reported. They are going to cut us off on the other side. Then we will not go to the other side. Turned the shuttle sharply, too sharply. The metal groaned. Something broke somewhere in the back. Commander's voice came through the radio. The civilians are panicking. Some of them are hurt from the movements. Tell them to hold on. Tell them help is coming. Tell them, paused to dodge another plasma bolt. Tell them we will get them home. 10 minutes. The 4 fighters caught up with them as they left the asteroid field. There was nowhere left to hide, nothing left to do but fly and hope. A bolt hit their shield, then another. The shield failed. The next bolt hit the shuttle directly, tearing a hole in the side. Air began rushing out. Emergency systems kicked in, sealing the breach with foam, but the shuttle was dying. 8 minutes. Commander, Private's voice was calm, too calm. Let me take a rifle to the breach. I can shoot at them when they fly past. You will be exposed to vacuum. I know, but someone has to do something. Closed her eyes for a moment, was 25 years old. He had a girlfriend waiting for him back on Earth. He had told about her once, a girl named who made the best noodles in the city. Do it, said. Through the cameras, she watched move to the breach. He sealed his helmet, grabbed a rifle, and stuck his upper body out into space. The vacuum pulled at him, tried to drag him out, but he held on with his legs and his one good hand. A fighter flew past, fired. The bolt hit the fighter's engine. The fighter spun out of control and crashed into another asteroid. 3 fighters left. 6 minutes. Another fighter made a pass. Fired again, missed, fired again, hit. The fighter exploded. 2 fighters left. But the cold of space was killing. Even through his suit, the temperature was dropping his body into shock. His movements were getting slower. His aim was getting worse. His voice was gentle. Come back inside. Not yet. His voice was barely a whisper. Not until they are all gone. 4 minutes. The 2 remaining fighters were being more careful now. They stayed far away, taking long shots that were easier to dodge. They were waiting for the shuttle to slow down, waiting for an easy kill. Made a decision. Everyone hold on, she announced. I am going to do something stupid. She turned the shuttle around, flew directly at the 2 fighters. Commander, what are you doing? Screamed. Something stupid. The fighters did not expect this. They scattered, trying to get out of the way, picked one and flew straight at it. At the last moment, she rolled the shuttle. The wing clipped the fighter, sending both ships spinning. The shuttle was built by humans, over-engineered, stubborn, like the people who made it. The fighter was not. It broke apart, the shuttle held together, barely. 1 fighter left. 2 minutes. The last fighter was running now, running toward reinforcements that were probably already launching from the station, but it was too late. TSS Ironclad to Commander, visual confirmed, launching fighters now. 6 Terran fighters screamed into view, their weapons hot and ready. The fighter tried to turn, tried to flee. It did not make it. Sagged in her seat, her hands fell from the controls, her vision was going dark at the edges. Commander's voice seemed very far away. Commander. Did we make it? Whispered. Yes, we made it. The Ironclad is sending shuttles to Commander. Smiled, then she closed her eyes and let the darkness take her. She woke up in a white room. A medical bay, clean sheets, the smell of medicine. Lieutenant sat beside her bed. His arm was in a sling, but his eyes were bright. Welcome back, Commander. How many? Her voice was rough, broken. All 47 civilians survived, all 10 soldiers alive. Paused. Corporal lost his arm, lost his hand entirely. The frostbite was too severe, but they are alive. Closed her eyes, tears ran down her face. She did not try to stop them. Good, she whispered. That is good. Commander, hesitated. The Admiral wants to see you, and there are reporters everywhere. Everyone is talking about what happened. They are calling you things, the Crimson Angel, the White Devil. I do not care about names, opened her eyes. I only care that our people are safe. They are safe because of you. She lay there in the white bed, thinking about everything that had happened. The blood, the screaming, the little girl with empty eyes. The price of bringing people home. "This will mean war," she said quietly. "Yes," agreed, "it will." "Then we will fight and we will win." His voice hardened. "Because that is what humans do. We fight, we bleed, we survive, and we never ever leave our people behind." She turned her head and looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, they were preparing for war. They had no idea what was coming. 3 years passed. The war between humans and the collective burned across 100 star systems. It was brutal. It was bloody. It was exactly what they had tried to avoid by harvesting humans in secret. They had wanted easy prey, soft creatures that would not fight back. They had taken farmers and workers and families, people who had never held a weapon in their lives. They had not expected humanity to respond the way it did. Every human fleet mobilized. Every human colony sent soldiers. Factories that had been making toys and furniture started making weapons and armor. Scientists who had been studying plants started studying ways to defeat shields. And at the front of it all was Admiral. She had been promoted twice during the war. First to captain, then to admiral. Not because she was the best strategist. There were others who were better at planning. Not because she was the best diplomat. She had never learned to smile at people she wanted to kill. She was promoted because of what she represented. Every human soldier knew her story. The woman who walked into an enemy station with white armor and walked out covered in blood. The woman who killed 50 guards alone to save one hostage. The woman who flew a dying shuttle through an asteroid field with nothing but stubbornness and rage. She was proof that humans could win against anything, against anyone, against any odds. They learned this the hard way. They learned it at the Battle of Broken Stars, where Admiral led a fleet of 30 ships against 201. They learned it at the Siege of the Silver Gate, where human soldiers held a space station for 6 months against constant attack. They learned it in 1,000 small fights on 100 different worlds, where humans refused to give up, refused to surrender, refused to die. 3 years after the war started, the collective surrendered. The treaty signing was held on Earth in the Great Hall of the Terran United Government. Dignitaries from 12 different alien species came to watch. They wanted to see the humans who had done the impossible. They wanted to understand. Admiral stood in the place of honor. She wore her ceremonial armor, white and gleaming, newly made. Her old armor, the crimson armor, was in a museum now. Children came from all over Earth to see it, to touch the glass case, to read the story of what one woman had done to save her people. The treaty was signed with great ceremony. The High Council bowed their heads and accepted terms that would have been unthinkable 3 years ago. Reparations, territory, the return of all human prisoners, admission of their crimes. Watched it all with empty eyes. She did not feel victory. She did not feel pride. She only felt tired. So many had died. Friends, soldiers, civilians, the little girl from the tubes. She had survived, but she still did not speak. 3 years later, and she still had those empty eyes. Some wounds never healed. After the ceremony, stood alone on a balcony, looking up at the stars. She was thinking about all the people who should have been there, who had lost his hand saving them. He had died a year later at the Battle of the Red Nebula, flying his fighter into a command ship because his weapons had failed and he had nothing else left to give. Corporal, who had died holding a bridge on some moon that could not even remember the name of. So many others. The price of victory. Admirals. She turned. A young stood behind her. He was small for his kind, barely taller than herself. His silver skin was pale, and his 4 arms were folded nervously across his chest. Yes. My name is, I'm a junior diplomat. I was born after the war started. He paused, unsure of himself. I wanted to ask you something, if that is permitted. Studied him, he was young, scared, looking at her like she was a monster from a story. Ask. I have seen the recordings from that first day on the station. He swallowed. Your armor, it was white, beautiful, but by the end. It was red. Yes, crimson, he hesitated. I do not understand. Why white? If you knew there would be fighting, why wear white armor? Was quiet for a long moment. She looked up at the stars again, thinking about how to explain something that most humans understood without words. The white was never for us, she finally said. It was for you, for your people, for anyone who was watching. I do not understand. We came in peace, real peace. We wanted to trade, to talk, to be friends. His voice was soft, sad. The white armor was a symbol, a promise. We were showing you who we wanted to be, peaceful, civilized, open. And the red turned to look at him. Her eyes were dark and deep, like holes leading to somewhere very old and very dangerous. The red is who we become when you hurt us, when you take our people, when you make our children scream. She paused. The white is a choice we make every day. The red is what happens when you take that choice away from us. Shivered, you are. Frightening your people. You smile and trade and talk about peace, but underneath. Underneath, we are survivors. His voice hardened. For 1,000,000 years, we survived on a world that tried to kill us every day. Predators, disease, weather, other humans, we survived by being stubborn, by being loyal, by refusing to give up ever, no matter what. She took a step toward him. He flinched but did not run. Your people made a mistake, she said. You saw that we were small and soft and thought we were weak, but weakness and gentleness are not the same thing. We are gentle because we choose to be, because we have seen enough violence to know that peace is better. But when someone threatens your people, then we are no longer gentle, smiled. It was not a cruel smile, it was almost kind. That is the lesson, young diplomat, the lesson that your people learned too late. Do not mistake our kindness for weakness. Do not mistake our peace for inability to fight. She turned back to the stars. My armor was white when the battle started because I hoped, truly, honestly hoped, that I would not need to fight, that your people would listen, that we could solve everything with words. Her voice dropped to a whisper. But hope does not stop evil, only action does. Was silent for a long time. Then he bowed low and respectful. Thank you, Admiral, I think I understand now. I hope you do, did not look at him. I hope your generation builds something better than ours. I hope you never have to see what I have seen. I hope your armor stays white forever. And if it does not? She finally looked at him again. For a moment, he did not see the monster from the stories. He saw a tired woman, a woman who had given everything to protect her people. A woman who carried scars that no one could see. Then you do what must be done, she said simply, and you try to forgive yourself afterward. Nodded slowly. Then he turned and walked away, his silver robes flowing behind him. Watched him go, then she looked up at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there among all those points of light were humans, living, working, loving, having children, building futures. Safe because of what she had done, because of what so many had sacrificed. She thought about the little girl from the tubes, the one with empty eyes, visited her every month, brought her flowers and sweets, sat with her in silence. The girl never spoke, never smiled, but sometimes she would reach out and hold his hand. That was enough, it had to be enough. Touched the white armor over her heart. Underneath it, her skin was covered in scars, burns and cuts and marks that would never fade. The price of the crimson. But she would pay it again, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. She would paint the stars red if that was what it took to bring her people home. Because that was what humans did. They protected their own. No matter the cost. She smiled, a real smile this time, and walked back inside. There was work to do, peace to build, futures to protect. And somewhere in a museum on Earth, her crimson armor stood under glass. A reminder of what humans could become when pushed too far. A warning to anyone foolish enough to try again.